Mr. McConville again here. I'm just going to take you through our project. As I said in my description on Google Classroom, the project will take a few weeks. There are plenty of things to do, and at the end I'll explain some things that you can send in to me when you're finished. So, the first thing is we're going to be talking about French-speaking countries, and there's a word called la francophonie, or francophone, which will come up later on. You're going to be producing information for a display. So the first thing is to think about, people always say, oh, why do I have to learn French because I'm never going to France? Well, what we're going to do in this project is discover that it's not just France where people speak French. Here's a map of the world. How many countries in the world do you think French is spoken in? Well, we have a list of, sometimes people say it's 50, 60, 70 countries around the world where French is spoken, and that is called la francophonie. So you might say France, maybe some countries in Africa, the Caribbean, but France is an incredibly popular language and spoken in over 53 countries, which equates to about 118 million people. Sometimes it goes up and down. Now, this map of the world shows you some of the places around the world where French is spoken, so if you're good at geography you might be able to name some of these places, but we'll go into more detail. One of the places, for example, you may have seen in the last slide, down here, is an island called Madagascar, and you may recognize the name Madagascar because they made a movie of it, cartoon. This is the real Madagascar here. This map is much more detailed with lots of the countries where they speak French named, so you can have a good look at that. You want to pause the video for a while and have a good look at that. You even see in North America, so Quebec, part of Canada, we'll come back to that later. And you have a little state down here, it's quite a big state actually, called Louisiana in the United States of America. So France actually has quite a big influence in lots and lots of different places. If you look at this picture, you'll see how multicultural France is. You'll see people from all sorts of different backgrounds and groups who have settled in France. And because French is spoken in so many countries, it explains why France is such a multicultural nation. So when you think of French, do not just think about France. I'm going to do a little quiz. And the best way to do the quiz is to pause the video to write down your answers and then check them at the end. So this is a good activity for you to do to be able to check yourself. First round is, there are 4 countries in each list. You have to choose one of the countries that has French as an official language. Okay, so England, France, Germany, Holland, Spain, USA, Paraguay, Madagascar, Argentina, Monaco, Ethiopia, Finland, Burkina Faso, you might need to look that one up, Ghana, Japan and Oman. So just choose one country in the list that has got French as the official language, and the last one is Haiti, Sri Lanka, Venezuela and Zimbabwe. So you can pause the video, write down your answers, and then we'll check at the end. Round 2, all about flags. We have got 5 flags here. Okay, so write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Write down what you think the country is, and then do the same with these. One of them isn't actually a country, it's part of a country. See what you can find. Round 3, capital cities. Here are 8 cities which are capital cities of French-speaking countries. So again, pause the video, write down number 1 to 8, and then shortly you'll be able to see the answers so you can mark them yourself. And round 4, which French-speaking country also speaks, so basically countries which also have these languages as an official language. So which country also has German, Flemish, English, Luxembourgish, that might be easy enough, and Malagasy, that's very hard. So, pause the video, write down your answers, and the answers will be coming up soon. Well, you can see how many countries you can list with French as an official language, but there are loads. So, now, here are some of our answers. England, France, Germany, Holland. The one that has French as an official language shouldn't be too difficult to work out. It's France. Number 2, Spain, USA, Paraguay, Madagascar. It was Madagascar. Number 3, Monaco. Number 4, Burkina Faso. And number 5, Haiti. Flags. Democratic Republic of the Congo, Switzerland, Algeria, Morocco, and Cote d'Ivoire. Now this one down here sometimes is called Ivory Coast. It's just the same name, but in English. We have Canada, Luxembourg, Tunisia, Belgium, and Quebec. We'll come back to Quebec in a wee while. French-speaking countries, the capital cities. So here are the countries, and here are the capital cities. So you can mark those yourself, see how many you got right. The language, German is also spoken in Switzerland, Flemish is also spoken in Belgium, English is also spoken in Canada, Luxembourgish in Luxembourg, and Malagasy is in Madagascar. The question is, which countries actually speak French? Well, as I showed you before, this is a map which gives you an idea of the countries which speak French. The ones in orange are ones which speak French pretty much every day. There are ones in green where some people can also speak French as well as other languages. Many people think French is spoken only in France. However, it is a global language, and there are 29 countries with an official language, and some estimates say that there could be 220 French speakers around the world, and it's one of the official languages of the United Nations. There are only 5 official languages of the United Nations. One of the reasons for this is France took over a lot of countries, made them colonies from about the 17th century, and as a result the language was spread as well, and many of these countries became independent, but some of them are still governed by France as well today. The main centre obviously is Europe, with France and countries around it. There are 5 main centres, so you've got France itself, with the main language being French, as well as some other ones. You have Belgium. About 40% of people in Belgium speak French every day. Luxembourg, which also has German and a language called Luxembourgish. And then you have Switzerland, which is, they have a lot of different languages: French, German, Italian, and Romansh. And then we have a very small place called Monaco, but anyone who likes football might know a little bit about Monaco. And there are French speakers in every continent of the world, which is pretty vast. We've got Quebec up here, which was a French colony for about 200 years, so French was very well embedded there. We have overseas départements, which are usually fairly small islands like Guyana, Guadeloupe, Martinique, Mayotte, and Réunion. We have 96.2 million French speakers in Africa, and we have areas of the Pacific Ocean over here. Most of them live in French Polynesia, Vanuatu, Wallis, Futuna, places like that, Tahiti, and so on. And then if we look at Africa, you'll see loads and loads and loads of countries in Africa where they speak French. Okay, there's the island of Madagascar, there's Algeria, Libya, Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Chad, Cameroon, and then we mentioned Quebec before. There's Quebec in Canada. Okay, about 80% of the population in Quebec speak French, and the 4th largest French-speaking city in the world is in Canada, is in Quebec. It's called Montreal, or Montreal in English. And there's even a state in America, United States, called Louisiana, and it was named after the King Louis. Okay, and quite a few people speak French there as well. Big French influence. Now, this is the tasks that I'd like you to do. The first thing you should really do is have a look at the booklet, which give you a short explanation of francophonie and the different countries which speak French. There's an activity sheet for you to try if you want to, and then further on down you'll find the workbook. Now, as I said in the introduction, the workbook is in 2 different file formats. It's exactly the same information, it's just this PDF is easier to use on lots of different devices. So if you have a phone or an iPad, you can just download that and read it and use it. If you have Word on a computer, then you can download that and complete it if you want. The other 2 things that are up here are called France fact file and France snapshot, and I'll explain those in a little bit more detail shortly. So the booklet that you have starts off with, you can write your name, your class, and so on, and then you have some examples of the types of countries which speak French, so they're there in French and English. And then you have a little bit of an exercise on flags. So you know your colours already: bleu, blanc, jaune, noir, rouge, and vert. And as you go on down, you'll see the flags of some of the countries for you to complete, and try and fill in the word in French as well. So for example, la Belgique, le drapeau de la Belgique est, and number 4 you know is up here noir, number 3 from up here is jaune, and number 5 is rouge. So you would fill in le drapeau de la Belgique est noir, jaune et rouge, and try and fill that in for all the rest of them. Further on down, you'll see what you have to do as your research task, and then something that you have to complete. So try and complete a document. It doesn't have to look like this, but try and have this main information here. The name of the country you're talking about, its capital city, its population, some interesting facts, could be famous people from that country, or famous events or things that they've done, and then try and complete the flag. You can do it using ICT, or you can just do it by hand, but it would be brilliant to see a photograph or some kind of submission of that to us. That would be brilliant. And then there's a little extra task at the bottom to give you an idea of what the French fact file should look like. This is one for France, so I've just given you lots of information about France here. So if you're able to fill in something like that, it doesn't have to be as detailed as that obviously, but this just gives you an idea of the kinds of things that you can do. And you can also have a go at filling in this information about France as well. Food, popular sports, draw the flag, a landmark, facts about France, some vocabulary which you probably know lots of, and maybe a famous French person or two. So there's another little activity for you to complete. And the last thing to explain here is, if you look at the very bottom, there's one thing I found which was a link to Arsenal. Now don't worry if you don't like Arsenal, but they actually have lots of great activities for learning French, including videos. So there are plenty of little things there to keep you busy as well, about birthdays, countries, family and friends, numbers, all sorts of things. So if you feel like doing that, give that a go as well. I'd be really happy to see any of the things that you've done. Best of luck, and hope to be in contact with you soon.